Good evening and welcome to the Drive at 5 on intellectualradio.com/iHeartRadio station. I'm your host, Roman, and we have a good show planned for you today. Don't forget to stay tuned to intellectualradio.com/iHeartRadio station for Warriors Talks with my girl, Rochelle, at 6 p.m. Tonight, my guest is a husband and wife duo team
Yes, sir.
who decided to team up to assist in curbing gun violence in Chicago. Please give a Drive at 5 welcome to Joe and Artina Stanford. Welcome
Hey,
to the Drive.
thank you for having us. All right.
So, starting with you, Joe, please give intellectualradio.com/iHeartRadio station an update because you're not a stranger to the Drive at 5.
Yes,
So,
sir.
an update since the last time you was here.
Well, I believe the last time I was here, and it's a pleasure to meet you, bro. See you again. It's a pleasure to see you again. The last time we was here, I think we were talking about the opening of the gun range, being Illinois' first black-owned gun range, and so that was a very exciting time, very scary time because it was a new endeavor that we were embarking in. But it's been 3 years since, and it's been great. It's been a great experience. Yes,
A great run.
it's a great run. It's a great run. Yes.
Okay, so for you, Artina, please give intellectualradio.com/iHeartRadio station your background.
My background is focused on early education. So I have my degree from Northern Illinois University. I was a preschool teacher, or a twos teacher, educational coordinator, a director, executive director. And so I'm really hands-on and love working with children.
Yeah. So it's good to say you're an educator.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So describe your organization to us.
Okay. Well, it was a plan and a vision I had a long time ago, and it's called the Entertainment Organization. So it is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and it was, I think, 2008 when I put it in place. So it's just one of those things that I wanted to, like, I'm multi visionary, you know what I mean? So but yeah, so that was one of the things that I kind of put in place, and so now we're going 100% full force with the organization. My wife, she's now the executive director over it. She's the operations person, and it just makes sense now because we're able to focus more so on community education, literacy, all the things that we really need in Chicago. You know what I mean? It just period in all our urban areas. So really, I'm just excited about it because although we were running the gun range and everything, we were still working. We connected with my sister, who is her name is Dr. MJ. She's a doctor. She's the executive director of Target Area Development. And so when she took over, and she's now COO now as well. When she took over, we were just excited about her position, and she made some extreme major strides with the organization. So she asked us to kind of help, in the area, and so my wife, in the process of helping me with the my gun range and the security company, she's also took the reign and actually doing the non-for-profit organization as well, which is the entertainment. So we kind of coincided the entertainment organization with the organization target area so that we can, just kind of like get in and put our footprint into the community with an already established organization that's been going for over 30 years. And so she found a position for us to be able to do something that we both love, but more so my wife than anything, and that's plan free events for the community. The community of we were in specific for Inglewood, West and East Inglewood. So we've done probably well over 20 something free events over the last year, which we just come and we just make well, my wife comes up with very creative ways to be able to bring things to the neighborhood. We've done science fairs, we've done all kinds of things. I'm gonna let her, get a little bit more in depth with it. But we plan these events, and we were doing it like maybe twice a month,
2 to 4 times a month.
2 to 4 times a month. And so it's just that's more so the passion of what I've always really wanted to do, just be able to bring certain things to the community that maybe they're lacking in certain areas. And so we were able to actually connect our organization, the entertainment organization, with Target in the midst of that, and we became directors of coordinators for an organization or something called the Light in the Night. So we brought the Light in the Night to Inglewood, 63rd, Ogden Park, 63rd and Morgan. Just places that people probably wouldn't think to do science. Or we had a petting zoo where they were able to ride horses and pet the animals right in the midst of the neighborhoods where shootings and different things. So we wanted to bring light to the night, and just is that's just a passion thing. So even in the process of me doing the gun range and everything, my wife would work out the budgets and putting everything together, and and it's just been an amazing experience, and it's something that I myself so want to be able to actually go full force in and just make it bigger along with Dr. MJ and the target area development, and just connecting our resources and our abilities to just bringing something positive. And so even with the gun violence thing, me being Illinois' first black-owned gun range, I always felt like I had a responsibility, you know, beyond just the business in itself. Yes, it was an amazing feat to be able to actually do something on that level. But even with that, I wanted to be able to bring something productive to our culture.
Artina,
Yes.
who brings the ideas? When your husband decided to bring this idea to you, what was your thought process?
My thought process was I'm for it, especially when it's being able to reach the community, provide literacy, provide activities for them. I am all in support of partnering and supporting my husband's ideas and his visions.
Did you say, "Let me see how this is going to go," or
We did at first. I was like, well, I coming into the community, which area, and how can we it all work together, because we already had a lot on our plate already with everything that we were doing with the gun range, and then I was still working at the time for it, so it was a lot of pieces to put into place, but it was definitely worth making that change and that adjustment for.
what led to the decision for you, Joe, to transition your gun safety program to a not-for-profit organization to curb gun violence?
Well, I, I think it's a natural transition to go from gun safety to it's all in one. Um,
How so?
well, because for one, like it's a business. So me owning a gun range slash gun store in itself is a business. It's a pretty good business. It's a really nice business to be in. However, like I said, I'm from the west side of Chicago. I've experienced just about everything any black young coming up and coming guy would experience. That's even with the system of the court system, the police, the violence. I've experienced all of that. So me making it through that threshold of being able to actually become an entrepreneur in that business, um, like I said, it was some people would say lucky or blessed. I would say that I believe it was divine purpose. And so even with doing the gun range, now I just sold the building in January the 11th. We closed on the building um, uh, because a developer came in and bought up the block, which was actually a blessing for me though, because like we needed more capital, to be able to run any type of business. You have to have capital, and we didn't have all the resources that a lot of other people would have.
But you're the first black owned and operated gun range
Mhm.
in the state of Illinois. Why would you give that up for on a not profit?
It's not so much as that I gave it up. I didn't give it up. Fortunately, in that particular deal, I was able to keep every piece of the equipment to be able to just I can be back up if I chose to find another building. I could be back up in 14 days. So the deal was such an amazing deal, um, and it actually set a precedent in the neighborhood. Now, when I moved there, it was 87% white, and it was not a place for a black business to just come and open up. So it was just so many different levels to me being there. So, but we within the 3 years we were successful, very successful. It was actually work that was productive for our culture, because we have had at least about 5 to 10,000 people that came in and got their legal license that are of African American and brown descent. You know what I mean? So I mean, I served an amazing purpose within that, just bringing a light enlightenment to that particular field, whereas it was a stigma on it, and you wouldn't think that a good would come out of black people having being able to have any access to firearms. Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not just a black person with a gun. I was an entrepreneur in a field that's dominated by um, other cultures other than African American. So why would I change? I haven't changed. I'm just refocusing at this particular point, so that this gives me an opportunity to do what I really want to do. And that's another thing that we're going on and teaching young people about passion and what's the word I want to say? We have passion, and then we have uh, um, what's the word I'm going to use? Okay, so you know how you have your passion, and then you have the thing that's going to make money for you, right? And so I found my niche. That's the word. We have passion and niche, right? Niche. So it was a niche for me to get into security. It was a niche for me to be able to which opened doors. And so I didn't close the door to say I'm an artist. I want to be a musician. I want to be this. I want to be that. And I was that for 30 something years. And but doors didn't open for me until I was able to do what I was actually really good at as well, which was my niche was in security.
Artina, the transition from gun safety program to a nonprofit organization. We heard his view. What about your view when he said, "I want to transition this"?
Well, I think it all like comes full circle into what is needed in a community. So yes, you need gun safety in a community. You also need safe spaces for people to go, and you also need the education as well. And so he's not moving away from having a firearm or gun. He's just refocusing at the moment because violence is a big thing in Chicago right now in the community, and we want to focus on that to bring different things to the community so that they have different other outlets instead
As
of going there.
as an educator, you have the finger on the pulse of what's really going on in the streets. You hear things, you see things, and your wheels are turning on a consistent basis. When you said your background, an educator, you're very creative. You can do a lot of stuff. When he brought this, like the earlier question
Hmm.
to you, your wheels started turning. The transition,
Hmm.
what what happened from there?
I think it's still too in a way of when he was saying he was going to buy the gun range. And I was like, I have no background, I have no knowledge of this. And so my focus is to research to understand why this is a decision for him and why it's important for it. And I'm going to support my husband in his vision, his decisions, his ideas as best as I can. And it's a good one. And it's something that's needed in the community. So I'm full force in with him.
Artino, how your organization would convince children to put the guns down? How will it put the guns down?
I think for them is providing other opportunities and for them to see that there's other things that you can do outside of gun violence. In some communities, that's their focus. That's what they see, and so we want to provide them with different visions and different things that they can see and that's out there for them. If they don't see it, if they don't hear about it, they don't know about it. And so we want to make sure that they're able to see and hear it and be a part of it as well.
So how did you put that together to make sense?
It was
Because
more
it
of
just seems like I'm just going by the vibe here.
hmm.
Hmm.
It has to make sense for you.
Yes, yes.
So how did you make sense of putting the gun range and not for profit together? How did it make sense?
And that's more so of like Joe made it come together, all four for us, to be honest. And he put it in vision form for me, and I was like, this is good. This will work. For yes, it's going to take us some time to see the strategies and what's really working for it, but I think it is going to be a big difference for the community.
But you did say transition, and so it
Mhm.
wasn't something that we just cut cold turkey. We were actually doing this work while the range was in full force. We actually did a lot of the programs within the gun range, and like I'm not, like I say, I'm not. My thing is just giving different perspectives. I have a totally different perspective about guns, period, and firearms because I'm educated. And I think that's one of the main things too is to educate people, and people have been educated by the hundreds, by the thousands in our range. So the work was being done in there anyway. So the transition of just understand, it's not so much as put the guns down as that are possible careers in this field that requires guns. We have military, we have security officers, we have police officers, we have people that can protect the local, the nation. You know what I mean? So it's just about reprogramming people understanding, because there are a lot of white people as well as different races that guns are not a bad thing. It's an absolutely amazing thing for them.
The naysayers.
Hmm.
How do you have a gun range.
Hmm.
Now you have a not for profit.
Yes.
Somebody outside looking in would say it's hypocritical.
Hmm.
You say to those people, what?
Well, I mean, you're always gonna have naysayers, and you can, even if I explained how much good I'm bringing to the table, you're always gonna have people that's gonna see it in a negative light. Our job is to reach whoever there is that our purpose is set out to reach. I've been getting I actually had the naysaying all while I was doing the gun range. I mean, I got a lot of critical, um, criticism just for having a gun range. It's just no matter what you do, people are gonna have something negative to say, and you got to keep going forward. So I don't pay them no attention. I don't pay them no attention. Now, if it's good criticism, which I've gotten, then I'll definitely be better. I'm looking to be better.
As a black man, do you feel like the criticism is based on your race? If this was a white person or a Hispanic person doing this, do you feel that you will not have that much naysayers?
Well, I think first of all, there are white that was the there are white people who have gun ranges, and that's not even a conversation of what's going on with them. It's just a conversation because it's something unique, right? So anytime you standing out, you're gonna get good and bad, and that's just a part of it. That's a part of the game. It's just that I got to do my best to be representative, whether people want to be represented or not. They say that guy is black, and he has a gun range. He has done something that nobody has done here, and so yes, it's a lot of responsibility, and it's tough. It was a tough 3 years, but we made it through. We got awards from the village. Like I said, I mean, it's we didn't we set a good path for people that have for black people to have gun ranges, because we got no strikes. In 3 years, we've been blessed, and we've had no fights. We have no shootings in 3 years. Now that right there, just being an example, is better than me just talking or just addressing every situation. The fact that 3 years have gone by, and yes, things make people would say, well, it could have been run better. It hasn't. It wasn't on a level of some of the other guys. Well, yeah, we didn't have the resources that everybody had, but we had what we had, and we made it work. And now we have a good history, that when we decide to do it again, or if anybody decided to do it again, they can't say, well, a black person came in and did a gun range, and all hell broke loose. No, we just educated. And so it's sometimes it's just the work in itself is going to speak for itself. Action speaks louder than words.
Artina, the negativity, the naysayers.
Yes.
You heard some of the criticism as a wife, supportive wife. What you say to him?
I say to him, he just got to keep moving forward. For like he said, if it's good criticism, then we're gonna look at it and see what we can do about it. But this is what we have. We're gonna do our best for what we have and what we can do. For it, everyone's going to have stuff to say for it, and you just have to pick out what they're saying to see if it's really relevant to you, and if it's something that you can move forward with, or if it's just something you have to put in the back of your brain and say that's their issue, it's not our issue.
Do you think sometimes it's like they're trying to drag a black man down type of situation?
I think so. And I also think too that some communities hold like, oh, because it's black owned, then it should be this way. And it should, so they have a vision that, well, it's not the same as this, and this, you should do this, and this should be better for it. And so I feel like when it's a black owned, they kind of hold you a little bit higher standard. And if you're not on that standard that they're looking at, then they want to nitpick on everything that you're doing.
So this question goes to both of you. How did you guys introduce yourselves to the community that you're currently serving? Starting with you.
Fortunately, I already had roots into the organization. My dad um, was the chairman and the founder of Target Area, so he's been doing that for over 30 years. So I mean, I'm a preacher's kid, and so I was already in the mix. I branched out to do different things, and so but getting back into the organization was absolutely a no-brainer, because it's already established, and then I established my organization from my experiences, so it wasn't hard at all. It wasn't hard at all.
For me, it took a little bit because I had never been in that neighborhood before, but we went to a couple events before to kind of get our name out there and see and get a pulse on the community. And so I had the opportunity to talk to people at different events and see what they were needed. We put a survey out, like, what would you like to see in your community? What's missing from your community? Do you feel safe in your community? And we were able to kind of base and then make that relationship based off of those beginning
What was
events.
the response you were getting when you did the survey?
So some of the surveys was like, do you feel safe with your child going to the park? And some families said, no, my children don't play outside at all. forward. And so that's a good thing too about the events that we're doing. We have a lot of help. And then some events we may have security at as well because we want them to feel safe when they're outside. So some of our events are outside, some events are inside. And so, but they feel safe because we're there. We're providing that safe space for them. But we're keeping a pulse on the community and what they're looking for and what they're asking for, and we're doing our best at providing that for them.
And I would say that the response is absolutely amazing. I mean, they know us on, they know especially Miss Artino on the first name basis, and we talking about in the middle of the hood, right? So we're not going places where it's safe. We're actually making the places safe with our atmosphere, with our or with our belief, our strength, and working with, like I say, working with the organization Target Area Development, who have over 250 different people that they've hired and that canvases and do different things. So it's like, we're just bringing our program into a bigger program. So what it is that we have to offer, we're able to actually express through the organization target area. And so that's really the whole push. And like I say, when Dr. MJ said, hey, bro, I know you're busy, but I think, this is a good time for you to come in and do some of the things that it is that's on your heart. Like I said, the passion. And so when the doors open, and see, that's what it's all about, opportunity. It was opportunity the reason why I went into the gun range, because it was not a plan of mine, but it was an opportunity. I wanted to do music. I wanted to do entertainment. That's what I geared myself and try my best to do. But I'm also open for opportunity. And so when that door opened, I walked in. I was not afraid. And so the same thing when the opportunity came for me to be able to actually make some money off the gun range. So from that opportunity, I was able to change my whole trajectory and be able to do what it is that I love to do, and do it from a financial standpoint. So it opened up an amazing door. So I would rather do what I love to do now that I'm able to do it. And so yeah, it was a big deal that happened that opened the door for us to actually be able to do
Your husband is a jack of all trades.
it.
Yes, yes, yes.
When he says, I want to do X, Y, and Z, you're saying in your head, how we're going to do it when you have X, Y, and Z.
Yes. Yes.
Again, it goes back to how you make sense. He owns his own security firm.
Yes. He does.
And there's a lot of, African Americans that don't even know there's a black owned security firm. So when you do that, you got to manage, and that's hard.
Yes.
How you, how?
We're busy, to be honest. Even when he brings another idea, I'm like, make it make sense to me. How are we going to do this? But we really do sit down and figure out how we can make these things work. It doesn't come easy, it doesn't come overnight. We really have to strategize on how we can make these all these different ventures
I
work.
I want to give some credit to my wife. So she's pretty humble, but a lot of this stuff don't make sense. Like, some that's the reason why I'm able to actually step out and do things that people haven't done. So sometimes you try to make too much sense out of it, and you're gonna limit yourself into actually being able to do things that haven't done. How do you make sense out of something that hasn't been done? So my wife is learning faith through me. You know what I mean? She has a certain level of faith that she was brought up on, but she actually left her job to help me do what I'm doing now. You know what I mean?
Was that a big gamble right there for you?
It was, and it took me a while to make the decision to leave.
And
To be honest with you, it was not a overnight decision for it. So it took upwards of like 8 months for me to make the decision to leave my job to come full
What
force.
was the
Mhm.
final, I got to leave?
I think the final was that it's time. like I have to really step out and support my husband with his ventures and his ideas and his vision. And I saw everything that he had on his plate, and I needed to help with that load, for sure.
You're more organized now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna give it. I gotta give it credit, and that's one of the things that I knew. So I am adventurous. I am one to step out and try it. If I think it, I'm going. I don't even waste time. If I got a thought, I create a domain name for it. You know what I mean? Like I got hundreds of domain names because that's one thing I understand. Like when you have a frequency and you're creative, a lot of times we take it for granted, the things that go through our brain, and sometimes we just got to write things down. We got to go full force and then table it sometimes, and so that's literally what happened with the entertainment organization. So it was 2008 when we started, and I couldn't see a better time to actually get into doing it when my wife came into my life. So now it makes sense, you know what I mean? And then she's in education, So I mean, it's sometimes you just can't be afraid. Well, no, all the times you shouldn't be afraid, and especially if you want to actually achieve what it is that you set out to achieve. And so that's the thing. I don't have fear, and I can tell you the process was some of the toughest times of my life. 21, 22, it was definitely a major challenge to be able to maintain. And so when she did come into my into a place where I've been pressuring her to leave since the beginning of me starting. But yeah, she has to come into her own faith as well. And so, but also there was a need where she came in. So it wasn't that I just convinced her. It's just that like nobody's really gonna care about your business like your people that's closest to you. So when she came in and she got to looking at some of these books that these people were doing, certain people were doing, and she like, that's not right. And so it was a need. My dad always said, if you see a need, you meet the need. And our livelihood it was really based on what it is that I was doing. And so, she stepped in and then she definitely got it more organized, got them books together, and we survived. And then we made it through.
Was that the vision, the livelihood aspect, in order for the transition to make sense to you?
Not so much of the livelihood, because like I said, I was working um as well, but like he said, it was more of the need. It was more of me seeing what he was going through and me wanting to help and support him. And like I said, it wasn't an easy decision
Hmm.
at all for it, but it was definitely one that needed to be made.
Let's talk about your security firm because that's one of the resources that provides for the not for profit. Am I correct on that?
Not at the moment. The initial um resource that we had, but we've grown since then. So it's like the security company opened the door for me to be able to get the gun range. The gun range opened another door for me to be able to be in a position now where we were able to make a multi-million-dollar deal from that 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So in that 3 years that we were able to build the gun range, which is another thing, that this door opened up just maybe last year when they came to actually want to buy the building or buy the block. So we're talking about preparation and opportunity meeting, right? And that's where amazing things started to open up. So it's really about taking control of the future going forward, knowing what it is that I want to do and having the faith and the strength to actually be able to do it. Because like I said, it was difficult running a gun range without resources that normally everybody else had. And like you said, along with all of that, being the responsibility of being having the title of the only and first black owned gun range, like my wife said, that was expectation.
Do you feel like it was a lot of pressure on you?
Oh, it was a lot of
A lot of
pressure.
pressure.
It was a lot of pressure. Yes. I mean, nothing that you do that's worth something is gonna come without uh pressure. I mean, that's a falsehood. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I want to get through to our young people, that there should be an expectation for stuff to be hard. You shouldn't quit because it's hard. That's a process that's necessary. So, that's one of the things. And I'm just excited and happy because I never really like doing interviews because it's like me talking about what I'm getting ready to do. And I don't like doing that. But when you've overcome things, and you've overcome certain situations, and that's no better way to tell it than to say 3 years we had a black owned gun range, and we were awarded by the village as the best gun range in the village and one of the best businesses. And so with that being said, that says more than me just telling you what I'm getting ready to do.
Given the negative culture in music, video games, and other items, some say are increasing violence in their community. How can you curb negative images that surrounds today's youth? With your organization, with positive imagery, your thoughts? I'll start with the educator.
Hmm.
I think like it is like video games and music, movies, for we really have to focus on showing them other things, getting them away from the video games, getting them away from the TV, having them more involved in community events, having them more involved in school activities, having somewhere for them to go after school that it's not at home on their couch or sitting on their bed playing a video game for it. We have to provide different outlets for the children so then they won't lead or they won't lean into those different things. So it'll shift their focus and their thinking.
So, some pushback. How does your organization help and assist children and teens specifically in their community?
Well, what the one part is our outreach work that we're doing in the community. And a part of that as well is that we are partnering with Target, who also have other organizations for teens. For it, and it's a no cap organization that they have for teens that's going to push them to do different things, and that's something that's coming up, and we're going to help introduce that through that events that we're doing, that we're going to announce that as well. And so that's another opportunity for them to get into. And we're pushing into schools, just letting them know that we're here for it. And then we have another part of our non for profit, which is focusing on literacy. As well. And so that's something that's coming out soon is our literacy book that's going to come along with a lot of other things
Yeah,
too. And yes.
creative. Yeah, and so like that's one of the main things that I envisioned when we first started is being able because we're and I'm a musician. I'm a playwright. I'm different things like that. So us being together, her being an educator, me being an arts person, we collaborate that together. And so instead of singing about killing each other and all these other things, we literally can put it into play where they can the music can be popping the way they like it, but the message can be educational.
Will your non for profit organization still have a relationship with advocates and community leaders that you built over the years with your non for profit?
Yeah, yeah. We so let me make sure I got that straight. You're
What,
asking
what
if
I'm
we.
saying is, over the years,
Hmm.
as what you're describing,
Hmm.
your business, you have like a plethora of
Yeah,
businesses,
yeah,
built relationships with community leaders,
yes.
advocates. Will this not for profit
Hmm.
will help build, not build, but
Yeah.
strengthen the relationship?
Well, that's the goal. That's the goal. I mean, I don't think it's enough people out there. I mean, and we talk about a lot of different people doing a lot of different things, But I believe that the goal for everyone is to make this a better place. So I think the hardest thing is just to get everybody to get on the same page on anything specific. You know what I mean? So whoever my resources are, we're gonna collaborate and put things together. I mean, I think what was the problem is that we will be relying on resources, right? That everybody's fighting for, and
I
it's
mean, elaborate on that
well,
so we can get a crystal clear picture on the resources that's needed.
yeah, like okay, so we've been fortunate, and that's why um we're going the route we're going. Like we have not gotten one grant or one dime from any other organization, a government organization. I've literally donated a lot of the money that we're doing to do what we're doing now. The time, the efforts. My wife has donated her time and efforts and money. So we're not waiting on anybody to get going. And so you have people that's applying for grants and things like that because they have to, and that puts a stall on them actually getting the work done, right? And so if everybody's fighting for this same grant and all that other stuff, then that means we have to wait to be able to actually make something happen. That's just not something that we're doing. And so this is why I believe God put us in the position that we're in, and that's why I'm making the transition. Yes, we're gonna seek this funding to be able to make it bigger and to be able to give more. But I'd rather do proof of concept and invest in what we're doing, which we're doing now, and that not waiting on nobody to give us a grant. And see, that's what's fortunate about our situation. And so when the door opened, like even with the gun range, the selling of the building, we didn't sell our business. We sold the building. It was a real estate deal. That within itself. Now I'm not into real estate, but I was able to actually put myself in a position, you know what I'm saying, to actually be in there because of the opportunity and the preparation. So, with that being said, we're not going to be fighting for resources to get started. We're getting started now. And then we're aligning ourselves with, like I say, target area organization, target area development, which my sister, Dr. MJ, and my dad, Apostle Stanford, has already in place. So we're just connecting there. And then there's a lot of organizations that they work with. You know, I'm not really fully into to knowing what that business is, but I'll introduce you to Dr. MJ, and some of those other people that's really pumping out uh, the work.
When it comes down to it, don't you wish that you have support for what you guys are doing? Like the aldermen, the councilmen in your area, do you wish they know what you're doing? It's kind of like why the support is not there. He's saying, well, the proof is in the pudding. I've already did what I'm supposed to. So need it or not. But eventually something needs to give here. And I saw your reaction,
No,
so that's why.
of course you want the support, but I think what he was saying is that we're getting started, and so the support will come as they're seeing what we're doing in the community. And as we're doing these events, we're also meeting the community leaders. We're meeting the aldermen that is in that community for it, and so we were able to talk to their teams for it. So we're getting our organization name out there by doing, but of course the support is going to be welcome, wanted, and will be there with open arms once it comes in.
Yeah, and there's some support within the like target areas is has their own base of partners. So I just can't really speak on what target areas partners is. So the aldermen, I believe there's several aldermen and that is working hand in hand with target areas. So I mean, I'm just speaking from the knowledge that we have of what we're doing, and we're actually represent bringing ourselves the attention, at this particular point.
You guys have a unique spin when it comes to activities. Got a chance to look on your website. You brought pumpkin patch
Yes.
to areas that never had an opportunity to go to pumpkin patches. You brought even a small zoo
Yes.
to that understanding. How did that come about?
I think for me, it's based off of too what I've done and what I've done with my son. And I just want to bring all those different things to the community for it. And then, like I said, talking to the community as well. What have you been able to do? What have you not been able to do for it? And bringing those things to the community because not everyone has the resource or the opportunity to go outside of their community to go horseback riding or to have a scientist come in for it. So I want to bring those things into the community so that they can see it and feel and just know that there's other things out there for them to engage in.
We even had a older lady that said that you kind of bring in like the suburban experience to the hood, because they get that, they get the pumpkin patches, they get all of that, in the west suburbs, south suburbs, they get these experiences, but places like Inglewood, they don't get that. And I'm gonna be honest with you, my wife would come up with these type of ideas. I'd be like, man, them people don't know, don't, and she'd be right every time. Every time we see their faces light up, like she brought the science guy there. They were making
Foamy gnomes.
foamy gnomes and slime, and they had a ball.
Did you have it outside or inside?
That was outside.
It was outside.
Outside.
You saw the reaction of the children face. Did you both say it was worth it? He was fighting you on this one.
Yes.
He basically said, you know what? Did you
I don't see
admit
it.
you was wrong? You're a hard guy to admit that
No,
you're
no,
wrong.
no. I listen.
She's shaking
Listen,
her head there.
if it's successful, there's no way to go against it. Like, I mean, when I seen the kids riding the horses right under the L on 63rd and Morgan, I was like, this is bonkers. And everybody, you could just see people just walking past, like, what in the world is going on here? It's not shooting, it's not nothing. And so, like, yeah, man, I'm open now. We've done painting sips. I mean, of course, they're not sipping anything, but what else? They making candles in the hood, scented candles, man. So they in Ogden Park and all these other places, man. Come on, man. That's a beautiful thing. Like, you can't fight against that.
The science, how you convince people to attend science?
Well, and like I told my husband, I was like, everyone loves science for it
Yeah.
and to bring different events. And so, yes, it was a couple people that were like, bring your kids, they're coming in. And they're like, science. But when the kids got there, they were just all hands on, just running towards the scientist before he was
Man.
even ready to start. They're like, we were ready, but it was really something that it looks like the community wanted because they came out for it. They showed up and it was amazing.
What did you have an overwhelming response, a little response? Was it?
We had an amazing response
Yeah.
for it. It was
At
a
least
great
about
turnout.
30 kids and their parents. And the parents was doing it. We got all the pictures. We got all the proof. I just said I'm just gonna document this because nobody's gonna believe it if we just talk about it. And that's why
Now,
we've done that.
now you're saying whatever she decides that an activity, you just say, okay, I'm down with
But
it.
why not? Why not? I mean, I was saying it as a protective mode, because I'm from the west side of Chicago. It's like you mention something like that to somebody, they'd be like, man, if you don't get your, you know what I mean? But that's just not what people want. We just getting so many negative vibes, and every time on the block you hearing somebody running around or somebody shooting and things, but you get to actually bring tents and things like this and see the kids. You can't defeat that. I mean, we talking about actually doing the work. Now, I have to give credit to Target Area for opening in this lane for us to be able to bring these type of creative events. So we're more like a program developer in the midst of Target Area. So they allowed us to bring our entertainment into play. So we was able to piggyback some of the resources from there and to be able to bring these type of things. But we got proof of concept. Now we got proof that the community does, they do want to have science fairs, they do want to ride horses, they do want to. So we got proof that this works in the worst places in the neighborhoods. What people would deem that. You just got to have guts, and you can't be afraid to be able to bring things to people.
As an educator, when you see the reaction, talk to parents. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is like literally I'm full. I'm full because the parents are like, my daughter was so happy that she came and that you're doing this. And they're just so grateful to see us in a community providing them with these different opportunities and resources for them. And so it just makes me like amazed and wants me to continue to do it. Just seeing the kids' faces and how excited they are, like when they were making the foamy gnomes, and just seeing the reaction of the chemicals come together for it. It just it's amazing, and it's something that I feel like needs to happen more.
On a wider scale.
In a community sense.
Yes.
I'm going to have you guys come to my community in the Austin area
Dope.
Okay.
to bring the science guy and the
Yeah.
pumpkin. No, I'm serious.
I'm very
We are
serious.
too. We will
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying it on air, so I'm going to send it to you. So,
He
so
gonna lock us in.
yeah, lock you guys
Yes,
in
yes.
this year.
Yes, definitely. We will make it work.
That one would not be a
We
problem.
would love to do it.
Yeah.
Now, your organization helps children and teens explore other aspects of life that normally they would not have an opportunity to do so. Your organization brings them, let's say, rejuvenation, saying there's more to life than just the hood.
hmm
Have anyone come up to you to say that?
To say what again?
Like, there's more to life to explore than just the hood.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, I when I had a, you remember when I first came, I was uploaded with way more ideas than I can express. So it probably it didn't go as well as we probably would have thought. And that's because I mean I have all of these different things in my head that I really want to get done. And so like I can't even get into what I'm getting ready to do without actually talking about what I want to do. But the point is that I did a gun range as an entrepreneur, as a Black entrepreneur, and I successfully made it happen. And so I can just say from my actions that it can be done. And we can show better than we can tell, because a lot of people are telling us what they're getting ready to do. And we all so sick of people telling us what they're getting ready to do. Show us what you can do, show us what you've done, and show us, you know what I mean, and put some skin in the game.
And I think he's living proof that there's more than things in like the hood, outside the hood, to see and to do. For it personally, no one has said that to me, but doing these activities showing me that that's what
It's
they
written
want
on
to
their
say.
face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you say you got to slow down on these ideas?
No, I don't say that. I don't
One
say
idea
that.
at a time.
You know, I've learned over our years together that he doesn't have one idea at a time. Does not have one idea at a time for it. I just need to maneuver within them.
And she's doing really well. I think that here's the thing. It seems like new ideas, but most of this stuff has been 20 years in the making. And she used the word full circle. What is new is the fact that I wound up with a gun range, that I wound up with a security company. That is something that I didn't plan for. And this is why I push the between the youth now, the difference between passion and niche. We have to be open. We can't just be closed minded and say I'm gonna be a basketball player or I'm gonna be a rapper. I mean, I was all of that, but you got to be able to actually give yourself 100%, day and night, eat, sleep, and drink what it is that you say you want to do. And that's going to open the door for other things. So the fact that I was so committed into my music, so committed into my art, so committed into writing plays, that opened the door for me having a mind that's used to activity. So it doesn't matter about what it is that I'm specifically doing. When something presents itself to me, that may be easier than actually doing music. Because owning a security company was way more easier than actually just trying to be in the midst of 1,000 other producers and songwriters and rappers and all that other stuff. Sometimes you got to get out of you got to create a whole new lane in order to open up another door for yourself. So we all trying to get on the same Eisenhower, and everybody's not going anywhere no time soon. But then you see somebody else that's not afraid to ride the side, and everybody mad at him. You know?
So please give intellectualradio.com/iHeartRadio station and how people can donate. Go to the website and kind of get you guys out to other communities. So tell them how they can get in contact with you.
Well, we have our site, www.theentertrainedbrain.com, which we're pushing all the social medias at entertrainedbrain.com, Instagram, entertrainedbrain.com, at entertrainedbrain, Facebook, all the social media, and then our numbers and Twitter. Yeah. Email, you can info@entertrainedbrain.com.
All right. Well, thank you. Don't be a stranger
Oh no,
to the
bro.
drive at 5.
Oh no, man. You know, we've been doing this for a while together. It's been almost 5 something, probably more than that, right?
Way more than that.
Yeah.
You know what? Just very quickly, I miscalculated how many years I've been on Intellectual Radio.
Wow.
Somebody told me over the summer I've been here for like they said, oh, I think it's 8 years. So they said 8-year anniversary. Did you? And I looked recently.
Yeah.
In September, I will be here for 10 years.
Wow. That's
amazing.
congratulations.
And,
Stability.
well, yeah. I mean, in September, 10 years. But
Amazing.
according to Earl, I was here more than that. So thanks to Earl Winfrey, our executive producer.
Thank you so much,
Wanda,
Earl.
who's behind the scenes. You guys have a wonderful week.
Thank you so
you.
much.